I'm Sandra.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
And we are the Screaming
Divas.
Divas. So, guess who we are interviewing today? Carrie, can you tell them?
Yeah, amazing. Stephen Edwards.
Film composer.
TV composer.
Producer.
Co-owner of M Vibe and an all-around really cool guy.
Yep. So here's a little clip of our amazing, fantastic, wonderful interview.
Yeah, so the constant is the picture, right? Because the pictures, so I always know that I have a timing to write to, which can help determine tempo, mood, orchestration, melody, all that stuff that we musician geeks can relate to, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, music sets the emotion. It sets the tempo of the whole movie. And if the music is, oftentimes I feel movies kind of go floppy.
Whereas, well, remember, we're in a two-dimensional medium with, and we've got a screen that's flat. You know, if you go to a play, you're surrounded by people and they're walking towards you and walking away from you. But you know, with movie, it's a flat screen. So what music does, one of the things it does is it adds dimension. It adds that three-dimensional sound. You know, you're being surrounded by sound. So, you know, you take music out of a movie, it looks like a lot of cases it'll look like a badly edited student film. And you put music in, it's a character in the movie, just like an actor is a character.
Oh, we're supposed to say subscribe.
Hey, subscribe. Click the button. Please subscribe. Would you subscribe? We would love to have you subscribe. It would make us so happy. Joy, happiness. Ah.
Hello. Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
There's some screaming divas.
You got some screaming divas.
Is that a shot of tequila right there?
No, it's
sparkling
water.
New gin, which is our new sponsor.
You guys are so much better equipped than I am. I'm kind of embarrassed right now.
No, it's 10. Isn't it 10 a.m. out there? Chris wanted to say hey.
How you doing?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too, bud. How you been?
I was good. I was in your town last week for about 18 hours. And I recorded 26 strings with masks.
Whoa.
And I was at, what was the name of that studio in, oh my God. It's in Franklin. Paragon.
Oh, Paragon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
So,
how was traveling in COVID?
Yeah,
How's that doing?
It was okay. It was, let's see, I took my daughter to Dallas. My daughter's a freshman at SMU. So I took her and moved her in.
Wow.
Last week, and now she might be moving back because they might be shutting the whole campus down. It's just a trash fire. It's
wow.
50 kids have COVID, and they said at 115, they shut the whole campus down and sent everybody home. So
wow.
She's literally been there for 6 days. So it's like,
Is she nervous? Is she okay with it? Does she want to leave?
It's the tide is kind of turning. She's kind of like, I want to get out of there. I don't want to get COVID. So that's kind of changing really quick. And it's really sad for a freshman in college, freshman experience.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
That's horrible.
So, but then we flew to Dallas and flew from Dallas to Nashville. It was an hour flight, an hour and something minutes. And the planes were about a third full.
Okay.
That's not bad.
So you just kind of deal.
Yeah.
So.
And the recording, everything went fine? I mean, you felt fine being in there with the masks and all that kind of stuff?
Felt fine being there with masks. It's, if you think about it, you guys have worked with conductors, like there's a fair amount of expression that happens below your nose. And I'm doing this with 26 strings and everybody's spread out all over the room. But, they just played great. They really, we had great rapport. The artist that I was working for was in Nashville. He was on Zoom. Sorry, he was in Palm Springs on Zoom. We were all in Nashville, and it just kind of all worked out. So
awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, it was good to see you. I'll let you guys be.
All right, buddy.
Yes.
Cheers.
Hi. We've never met actually in person. We've just talked through emails.
That's correct.
So hi.
Hello.
And this is my really good friend Sandra. Sandra, this is Steven.
Sandra, where are you?
I am in Canada. I'm outside of Toronto.
Oh, outside of Toronto. God bless you.
Did you get that?
I grew up in Michigan, so Toronto was our cosmopolitan city go-to. If
But
you
I
wanted to
grew
go
up
to
in
a cool
LA.
place.
So there you go.
All right.
I
Fair
went to
enough.
college at USC and UCLA because why not go to both?
I live 6 minutes from UCLA campus. So
Whoa.
Cool.
there you are.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're back in LA now?
I am back in LA. I am indeed.
Did you have to record in Nashville because you can't record in California right now?
Well, we did try to do it in LA and AB5. There's some law stuff that's kind of making it very difficult right now for musicians, and not, the fact that musicians are just, as you don't need me to tell you, I'm preaching to the choir literally here. Musicians are just getting killed.
Yeah.
And so the logistics for recording with strings here was just a little bit tricky for us. And so we defaulted to Nashville.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Because
yeah.
we're allowed to do it here.
Yeah.
Because we're
Yeah.
crazy.
And Nashville was jamming. They had another session the same day
Yeah.
as mine. And they're working, they're doing video games. They're just cranking there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Was
good
this
for them.
was this for TV, for film?
This is a record debut album for an artist, a friend of mine. And so I did all the string charts and piano playing and basically advising him and helping him. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well,
was,
go ahead.
was this one of your first things back after the pandemic, or have you been working through it?
I've been working 7 days a week. It's crazy. It's just because of M5, which Carrie knows about. That's keeping us busy. Like we were on a Zoom call today because now it's Christmas season. Have you guys seen your first Christmas ad yet?
Actually, they are putting Christmas decorations in the stores up here.
Yeah, it's on. It's like
our Thanksgiving is a month earlier than US Thanksgiving. So it's always that way anyway, but it's like a month early.
yeah. I saw my first print ad for Christmas in Parade magazine yesterday. It's like, geez, give us a rest.
Come on. We're not even in September yet. Like,
I do Christmas music every year, and it's usually when it's the hottest in LA. I'm doing Christmas music. It's like, the song, the Christmas song that Chestnuts Roasted on Open Fire, that was written in LA on like one of the hottest record days. And so they're like, yeah, Chestnuts Roasted on Open Fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose because they're so hot and so uncomfortable. Mel Torme co-wrote it, and his estate is still getting paid for it. So,
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So M-Vibe is your own company?
I'm one of the co-founders.
Okay.
Yep. My idea. And then I took on a couple guys, and then Mr. Jaffe has been amazing for us, and a few other folks. And we were based in Nashville, and then we moved operations back to LA. And so now, during COVID, it's kind of like it's in sleep mode, but we're still working, and we're hoping that the amount of business, when the production starts to ramp up, comes back. So
Well, it's a really cool idea. And the idea, if I heard this correctly, stemmed out of actually part of what you do. It's a part of you do this huge picture of stuff, which we really wanted to talk to you about, as well as how some of those industries that you work for have been affected, and are you still doing things for them in these 5 months that we've all been locked down. So I don't know where you want to start. Do you want to start about you and your training? Do you want to start what you do?
Yeah, or you can fire questions at me. I mean, my basic Reader's Digest condensed version is I'm trained as a classical piano player.
Okay.
And I went to Interlochen when I was a kid. And then I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the university is. And my mother was a choir director and my father was a book printer. So
cool.
When I was a little kid, he printed all of the Peters edition music. So he would walk in the house one day with a John Cage, tablature score. And the next day with Bach Well-Tempered Clavier for the 6th time because they kept reprinting it. And my grandfather was friends with a guy called Walter Heinrichsen, and Walter Heinrichsen was a German Jew who published the original Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart Gesellschaft. I don't know if you know about the Gesellschaft, which is basically, if you go into any college library, there's a huge, Mozart and Bach and Brahms too. I think, yeah, Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms, complete works. So it's like a shelf that's 25 feet long. And if you go into your library in Nashville and you look at it, you'll see the spine, and you look at the bottom and it says Edwards on the bottom. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of grew up getting this music, and they were like, oh, that's interesting. And my mom was a pretty accomplished musician and a flutist and a pianist and a choir director. So
Okay.
I was indoctrinated early.
So then how did that transition from getting a classical degree in piano to what you do now?
So when I was a senior at Lawrence, I got invited to audition for the Disney All-American College Orchestra, which is a now defunct group that they have where they would do a nationwide talent search, and they would bring 45 kids down to Orlando and staff an orchestra of college kids, and then they'd bring in guest artists every week. And so somehow through bribery and whatever, I won the piano chair. So there was one piano chair. You know, they got 6 fiddles, 6 seconds, 4 violas, 4 cellos, bass, full orchestra, brass, winds, strings, percussion.
I
So-
auditioned for it.
Did you really?
I did. I was a flautist. Yeah.
You were? Okay.
Get in.
Okay, well, yeah,
Made me
it-
choose singing. So yeah.
you know what? It's all worked out for you very nicely.
Yes, it has.
So anyway, and then I went to Orlando and did this college thing, and then one of our guests was a guy called Mike Post. Mike Post is probably the most famous television composer maybe of all time. Still working in the 70s, still does the Law and Orders.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so Mike invited me out here to work for him. He liked me and he thought I had potential and he thought I was nice, and so Mike gave me my first job in Hollywood.
Wow.
So I was working as a session player.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Playing
Which is
piano
very
again,
terrible.
right?
And keyboards, mostly this technology stuff, synthesizers and keyboards.
Wow.
And so that was my, and then I got to be around all the, absolutely great, fantastic LA session players. I got to know some of them, and then I realized I wanted to be on the other side of the glass,
Okay.
writing the music. So that's kind of where it, and then here I am 20 something years later doing the same thing.
Doing that. Well, when you search you and the things that you've written for, it's amazing. It's really.
I have to search myself actually now.
You
It's
do
getting to
too.
the point where, did I work on that film? I had it happen the other day where like I have 2 songs in some movie, and my girlfriend's daughter was watching the movie. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I have a song in there. And of course I did.
But you
It was
have
like,
some of them are under different names.
Yes, they are. I have 12 pseudonyms,
Why?
which is so the short version of that is I started a music library. So a music library is basically I have 75 CDs in this library, and it's it's basically production companies worldwide can license my music, like it's Christmas music, it's full symphonic orchestra stuff, it's Tyrolean bagpipe music, it's all different kinds of genres. So I'm pretty eclectic in the genres I write in.
Okay.
And when I founded it in 2001, the person that was representing me was slightly concerned that there'd be a rap track written by Stephen Edwards and a full symphonic orchestra track and a country song and an action cue and an accordion cue all by the same guy, because people tend to get snobby about who wrote stuff. So I made up, so Danny Camero writes my rock music. What's his name? Wolfgang Hemmler writes the horror music.
That because I watched the movie Ava the other night, and I was doing the search on you on IMDb, and it says Stephen Edwards as blah 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 wrote a song.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. Homer Greencastle writes my 40s, big band stuff. Homer Greencastle has his own IMDb page. So
That's hilarious.
So I did this movie over 10 years ago now, and the director fired me, and it was really upsetting, and it was like so annoying. So unbeknownst to me, the director calls my rep who reps my catalog, right? And he says, I really love this Homer Greencastle guy. Do you have any other songs by him? Not knowing that he just fired me, the same guy. I was like, thanks a lot,
You love our business. Isn't it a great business?
It's just like really, I like to think that they think we're experts at what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it's fun, when they actually trust us.
Yeah.
Be
Right.
it as a vocalist, as a musician, as a composer, whatever. So anyway,
Super true. Super true.
yeah, war stories.
I read that you prefer Steinway pianos.
Mhm.
How many do you have?
There's one of them right there. See it?
And how many and why? I'm
So
always intrigued by this.
I have, let's see, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have
Okay.
3 on my property. So I have this one here, which is
Mhm.
an amazing instrument. I don't know if you could see the cool.
Yeah.
So this is a 1999 Steinway A, and it was designed by a guy called Dakota Jackson, who was a famous sculptor. And Steinway, for the 300th anniversary of the invention of the piano, commissioned him,
Oh,
and then
cool.
made a limited edition 300 of these. And it's a fantastic instrument, like just
Good sound,
luminous.
good action.
Oh, it's beyond space and time. Great.
Cool.
So every
I
piano
mean,
has a
that's my
different.
main recording instrument. And then in the house, I have a 1904 upright,
Oh,
which is
fun.
like a cool, fun banging instrument. And then I have a
Yeah.
1916 Model O, which is a 5'10".
Okay.
All different sounds, right?
Oh yeah, they're as different as the day is long. Yeah,
I prefer Steinways too. I
yeah.
find that it's just, I like a warmer sound, and I find Steinway has that a richer, fuller sound. It's not the tinny sound that you get with the other pianos.
Right, right.
If Steinway's out there listening, they can,
Yeah, and, also Steinway is really the only investment grade piano in my mind, where you
Okay.
buy it and it actually holds its value.
Nice.
And so, I get into the fun stuff where I like help families find them, and I go to, I look at estate sales, and once in a while I'll buy or sell one,
Nice.
just for fun.
That's cool. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's
All
neat.
right.
It's a neat hobby. My bucket list is to do a tour of Steinway when they open back up, because they have a factory in the Astoria, Queens.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And they do a tour. They do a tour one Monday a month that you have to sign up for like a year in advance, and then you can
Wow.
do the tour. So I want to do it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
So then can we circle back into M-Vibe and why because I think M-Vibe is really cool, especially why you did it. So,
Yeah.
So can we circle back into
Yeah.
the M-Vibe?
So what happened was I kept getting hired to re-record masters for film and TV, and the variety of stuff I've done is really kind of crazy. Like, was it last year? Year before last, a supervisor called me and they said, well, we want to use the score from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original. And we want to use 3 cues, but we can't clear the master. So would you mind re-recording it? I'm like, sure. So, this is pure imagination. This is like the songs that we listened to when we were kids.
Right.
And it had to be customized to a piece of footage. So I had to time it such that it matched
Okay.
visually what was going on.
Mhm.
And then I had 2 days to do it and to have it recorded with full orchestra. So then the challenge was to find a group that was available, because usually they book a couple weeks. Like we booked this Nashville gig probably 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Right. Well, I had 2 days. So we ended up finding an orchestra in Atlanta that was available. And we piggybacked on their session, and it was like 1 minute and 35 seconds of music. So it was nothing. And I was in Hawaii on vacation doing the whole thing. So I'm sitting here on my laptop, the same one.
Mm-hmm.
They had a conductor there, and I was like, okay, measure 45. The strings are, can you bring the violins down a couple dynamics? Like I produced the session from the Big Island.
Crazy.
And it got, we sent it right. They mixed it live, sent it to the stage, dubbed it in. It was for, I'm pretty sure it was for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, the Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Nice.
So they couldn't clear the master. So either there was probably a union issue. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, that's
so
like
it was a literal emergency.
Wow.
Musical emergency.
I wanted to sing something once, and it was still under copyright.
Yeah.
Said, sorry, you can't do that on a concert because we can't get all the orchestra parts.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, so back to M-Vibe. So I kept getting asked to do this, and I'm thinking, well, if they're asking little old me to do it, why don't they have a clearinghouse where they can find the master recordings? So, and again, it happened like last year where there was a Netflix movie that wanted to clear the rights to Tom Jones' It's Not Unusual.
Oh. Okay.
And so they couldn't get the master. I don't know if it was for creative reasons or whatever, but they got the publishing rights, but not the recording rights.
Mm-hmm.
So again, on a panic, they hired me, and I just basically recut the song. And I'm thinking, well, and they actually, what also was interesting is they found a version of the song that they really liked, some guy on Spotify.
Yeah.
And they emailed them. They said, we want to license your song. Will you take $10,000 for the use? I'm like, you kidding? Like, yeah. And he didn't respond. So that guy lost that license. He'll probably never, ever get asked again.
That's horrible.
That's why they called me. And I'm thinking, that's not right.
Not,
You know, an
no.
artist that spends money making their own music should have a right to exploit it and get paid for it.
Yeah.
And why don't they have a place where they can go, where they can have their music and we can do the deal for them? And then we just make a deal like, okay, we'll take 30%, you get the other 70, and it's still yours. It still belongs to you. We'll just broker it for you and we'll pay you too. We'll go to the supervisor and say, hey, look, we've got this, you know, we've got this cool 70s stuff, or we've got reimagined versions of songs.
Right.
You know, if you need a string quartet version of a Britney Spears song,
Cool.
or, you know, a giant classical catalog, or Christmas. Today was our Zoom call was about Christmas, because all the productions, all the Hallmark movies are now gearing up, and they need to, you know, their appetite for Christmas is just endless. Christmas is a gift that keeps on giving. It's literally evergreen.
Yeah.
And this year, especially, I bet, because people need that hope
Yeah.
and that
Yep.
feel good kind of stuff.
And I think almost every year I do a Christmas album. Like I did an album of solo piano Christmas. Last year I did an album of big band Frank Sinatra crooner Christmas,
Cool.
which is really fun. The guy's 78 years old and absolutely just knocks it out of the park. He's like a saloon singer, you know, one of those guys that walks in the room and he's got that attitude and he just crushes it. So, you know, and I did like a Stefan Grappelli left bank French jazz thing,
Oh,
you know,
cool.
you know, the sort of Django Reinhardt sound.
Love that.
All Christmas stuff, all PD Christmas stuff. So
this world is excuse me, I just was singing for an hour and a half, so I'm a soprano. This world is really foreign to us. I'll say for me, I don't know about Carrie if you're familiar with it, but how do you start from beginning to the end of a project? How does that start? Who calls you? How do you make the music? Do you see the movie first?
Well, I'll just talk about this movie I'm just finishing. I'm still actually doing a couple little things. I'm doing a teen horror flick. They keep changing the title. It's called Linked right now, Lanked.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this case, the picture editor is a friend of mine, and I've done 2 previous movies with him, and everybody was really happy. So he said to the director, you should talk to this guy Edwards. He'll do a great job. And so he had one call with me. He's like, okay, let's have him do it. And I finally met the director for the first time last week, because, you know, we're doing everything via Zoom, all via remote.
Whoa. Okay.
And so then they've got their picture. They've cut the movie. So my editor friend cut the movie down pretty much to where the final picture is. So when I got a hold of it, it was pretty much locked. And then I write my cues to the visuals, right? So the timing of the music I write is the constant is the film. So at 10 seconds into the film, somebody gets stabbed, you know, and at 45 seconds in, they're in a car talking, you know, and at 1 minute and 27 seconds in, the girl says to the guy, I've always loved you and I want to be with you. You know what I mean? Like there's mood changes, there's pace changes, there's stuff going on that audience follows. And then with music is definitely the, you know, the complement, it's the Greek chorus. It you know, makes the picture editor's cuts look like they're inevitable.
Yeah.
So I write cues, I record them back to picture, and then in this case, because he just comes over and sits on my couch and watches them and tells me what he thinks. But in this case, I just made cues and I sent him a QuickTime movie, and he watches it at home and says, oh, I love this, change this, take the music out here. So
cool.
You have liberty. You decide where the music goes in. They don't say, hey, we want music here, here, and here.
No. Usually, well, in this case, in this movie, I did sort of spot it, which we call spotting it, because the most important decision we make musically is where the music goes in and where the music goes out. But in this case, I sort of decided, and he actually came in and pulled rank a couple times. He goes, you know, I want the cue to completely drop out here, and then I want it to come back there. But in almost, I would say 98% of this score, he approved where I started and where I stopped. So, but sometimes we'll do what's called a spotting session, and we'll watch the movie and go, okay, it should come in right here on the cut to the, you know, the driveway, and it should go out when, you know, after the body falls or whatever, or after somebody's stabbed, or after the love scene's over, or whatever. So.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah. So the constant is the picture, right? Because the pictures. So I always know that I have a timing to write to, which can help determine tempo, mood, orchestration, melody, all that stuff that we musician geeks can relate to, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, music sets the emotion. It sets the tempo of the whole movie. And if the music is, oftentimes I feel movies kind of go floppy.
Well,
Whereas,
remember, we're in a two-dimensional medium with, and we've got a screen that's flat. If you go to a play, you're surrounded by people and they're walking towards you and walking away from you. But with movie, it's a flat screen. So what music does, one of the things it does is it adds dimension. It adds that three-dimensional sound. You're being surrounded by sound. So you take music out of a movie, it looks like a lot of cases it'll look like a badly edited student film. And you put music in, it's a character in the movie, just like an actor is a character.
Wow.
that's my problem with right now with us opera singers singing in this medium. I find it two-dimensional, and I find opera is three-dimensional, and it has to have that whoosh of sound come around you, and I just don't feel that it's the same. Okay, it can replace it for a while, but
Not
having
forever.
that voice hit you, or the orchestra sound hits you.
Right. Plus the sound quality is meh. And we know what the sound quality like is what, when you're in person, and the overtones and, just there's all of that human dimension that you just you're not going to get unless you're doing it live. It's going to be so exciting when this comes back, because people are going to be so stoked to do something live. And I think it's going to, if we can survive, if the musicians can survive, I just can't even.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you talk about flying. I'm going to Spain on Saturday.
Really? How are you pulling that off?
I'm in Canada, so we can go.
Ah.
We're not on the restricted flying, but when I come back, I have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll let you know.
I'm a citizen of Italy, so I can go to Italy right now.
Wow, that's impressive.
But I'm not sure. I would love to go, but Americans can't.
No.
Yeah, I know.
So are you having a lot of musicians contact you and just say, hey, do you have any work? Or, because people are hurting right now?
Not really. I see it on Facebook and socials, but not, appealing to me. But like, I just hired for the same project, we just recorded French horns and flutes remote, and they were very, very happy to hear from me.
Okay. Yeah.
So, okay. And I just did an album at the beginning of COVID. I decided to do an album for my library of sort of vintage 1930s, 40s, and 50s songs.
Yeah.
My catalog, because they licensed them a lot in film and TV. And it's funny that the theme of the songs was hopeful and drinking songs. So I have
which are very important right now.
Yes.
closing time kind of songs.
Yeah.
And there were songs about, the bonds you get when you have a glass of wine with someone.
Yeah.
And then there's songs about keep hope alive and stuff like that.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's interesting. Lyrically, I am definitely right. Exactly. I'm definitely lyrically matching what's going on in the world, And so it was from the heart.
I love that.
Where did you get your musical inspiration from? I know that you were classically trained, but to move into this genre, it's different.
It is. Well, I fell in love with film music when I was in my teens. John Williams, Ennio Morricone, and it's funny. I've gotten to know John Williams, and I talk to him all the time, which is so cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah,
I listened to some of your music, and that's exactly what I thought. I thought, wow, that sounds a lot like Morricone.
Yeah, and Morricone. I mean, we just lost him. And I did a documentary. I directed and produced a documentary called Requiem for My Mother.
Mm-hmm.
And when my mother died in 2006, I wrote a requiem in her honor, and it was premiered in Carnegie Hall with 175 singers and 60 kids and 50 orchestra. It was pretty cool, pretty massive,
cool
kind of project. And then that orchestra and the woman who conducted it, Candice Wicke, was invited by the Musica Sacra Festival to do a premiere there, and then she invited me to join, and that's how the whole film happened.
In Rome, where they filmed it in Rome.
Yeah, so I hired a camera crew. They followed us over there.
Okay.
And then 180 Americans flew over with their families. My whole family came. And
for people watching this, it's a PBS documentary. Like, you can still watch it.
It's not anywhere now. The only way you could watch it now is to order a DVD, but I'm going to do something about putting it up on a streamer.
Okay.
But yes, but anyway, one of the scenes from the film, I can send you the link for it, is we actually recorded the voices. So we recorded the album for Requiem in Rome when everybody was together, right?
Oh,
And the studio we recorded in is the studio that Morricone built. It's his studio. And I actually worked with his crew,
Awesome.
his guys. And
wow.
so they're all Italian. So here's the thing I learned is if you say, like I was producing in the booth, you can see the film of me in the booth, and there's like an orchestra guy in the booth, and then everybody, there's 180 singers out on, in Candace out on the, you know, with everybody has headphones on because the orchestra recorded in Prague, which is another story. So if I go like this, you know, we all go, that's a great take. If you do that in Italy, that means you're an a-hole.
Yes.
Right?
I could
I
have
did
told.
this for the take. And if you do that in Italy, that means up yours. So that was my intro to all that. It's like, what are you doing? So
That's hysterical.
and then the cool thing is I just recorded a score last fall for my new documentary called Syndrome K
Right.
that I also directed and produced, and I also scored it. And I had a friend of mine conducted the orchestra in Rome, and a couple of the guys, the technical guys, Pro Tools operator, were on my session in 2008 in Morricone's place. So they were Morricone's guys again. So like, hey, Gabrielle, how's it going?
That's awesome.
Great.
Hey, you're great. Okay.
Yeah, right.
I really wanted to, we both did really wanted to talk to you about the Requiem, but also about Project K, because that was eye-opening and super cool. And do you want to tell everyone about that?
Yeah. So Syndrome K is a documentary I just finished. It's a World War II story about the Nazi occupation of Rome. And I found out about the story. 3 doctors in a Catholic hospital made up a fake disease that saved Roman Jews from deportation to Auschwitz. It's a true story. And so I saw a friend of mine posted, a couple of musician friends of mine posted like a little meme on Facebook about it. I go, wow, that's such a cool story. And coincidentally, my first doc was also shot in Vatican City. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I'm a citizen of Italy.
Yeah.
I said, I got to go see this documentary. This is the coolest story I've ever seen. So I went to Amazon. I went to Hulu. I went to all the streamers searching for the doc, and I couldn't find it. I said, you can't be serious. Nobody's made this film. How is that possible?
Yeah.
You know, and you have in your lifetime, you have a few of those aha moments, like those moments where we said, you know what, I'm going to be a musician, or I'm going to marry this person, or my child is, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, this thing just fell in my lap. And so I just, you know, this is all in a span of a few minutes. You know, your brain is just racing. So one of the doctors died in 1961. He was born in the 1880s, 1890s. The second doctor passed away around 2000. And the other doctor, I couldn't find a death notice on him, like a obit or anything. And he was born in the 20s, born in 21. And so I looked around, and then I look and I find him. He's online. He's still alive, living in Rome, 98 years old. Wow. This is back in April of 18.
Okay.
Right. And so I booked the next flight and hired a Roman Jew journalist who was really connected with the Jewish community, flew over, sat him down and interviewed him. He's 98 years old, Dr. Ozacchini, full of piss and vinegar, you know, tortured by the Gestapo, member of parliament, worked at this hospital, Fate Bene Fratelli, for years and years. And his daughter, so he lives in this compound in the hills above Rome. And if you look on his doorbell, it's him, and all 4 of his kids live in the compound, and all of the families live together.
Whoa.
Oh.
Okay.
So I got to go into his house and interview him. It was like literally meeting a true life, living, breathing, bona fide hero. You know?
Why was this story never told before? Why did we never?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I think part of it is humility. These guys just didn't want to crow about it.
Gotcha. Well, somebody needs to make a movie. Has anybody said we're going to do it yet?
Well, the doc is finished.
The documentary's finished.
Yeah. And now we've got a script that we're shopping. We just started to shop a feature film script because it's actually almost more compelling of a Hollywood movie than it is as a doc. The doc's compelling, but the movie, yeah.
It's a great Hollywood movie. I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Have you been to Rome? Because if you go to Rome, you know where the Jewish ghetto is, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it's still that way right now. And there's great food, and you know have the the asparagus, the baked asparagus, which is like 3 months a year in season.
Yeah.
But then if you look right across the Tiber, 200 meters from the Great Synagogue of Rome is Fatih Beni Fratelli Hospital. It's on what's called Tiber Island.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the Nazis came and raided, some of these Jews just went across the bridge and asked for refuge in the hospital, and they hid them there, and they changed their names and gave them fake papers and fake IDs. It's just the stuff they did was just, it's crazy. I mean, they took the whole entire staff of the hospital's lives into their own hands. So you have the SS in Rome.
Yeah, right.
You don't need me to tell you about what those guys were capable of. So
I think, and what you're doing, I think, is such an honorary thing for them, you know?
Yeah, and it is also, one of the things that really inspired me was there was, if you look on Yahoo about a year ago, they talk about the amount of high school kids that actually know about the Holocaust. And, the number is shockingly low. It's like 25% have ever heard of it.
Yep.
And I was like, come on.
Or don't think it ever happened.
Yeah, there's that too. The culture of, so I've got the witnesses telling me firsthand on camera.
Love it.
It's like, okay, look, no, here it is.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you right here. And if you want to make up stuff, knock yourself out.
Knock yourself out.
But I am a living, breathing witness to living, breathing people that are telling me that it happened to them. So it's, it's the never forget conversation. And if I can be a little contributor to that. And interestingly, who really embraced this thing, even though we haven't released it yet, is the Jewish film festivals.
Cool.
I get an email a week from, the Boca Raton Jewish Film Festival, the Calgary, Alberta Jewish Film Festival. We played Toronto.
Cool.
Yeah, we played the Toronto Jewish Film Festival just a couple of weeks ago. So, and now we're doing all, Australia, we're Sao Paulo, Brazil, we're going worldwide with it.
Nice. Has it been in the Jewish Museum out there in LA?
Yeah, we just did it like 2 weeks ago. The Holocaust Museum. They did a screening of 3 movies. They did Life is Beautiful, The Gardens of the Finzi Contini, which is a famous movie from the 50s, my film, and there might have been one more. And we did a Q&A, a Zoom Q&A. And it was really interesting stuff.
Awesome.
We had the mayor of Rome on with us. That was cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So when are you going to write an opera?
Oh, I would love that. The closest I've gotten to, I've done a mass. I did a mass called the Ave Maria Mass. I've done Requiem. I've done, I've dabbled in some opera stuff when I had to re-record things for movies. And I love being around the music. I just don't get to do it enough. It's such its own field. It's like being a brain surgeon. You don't ask a heart surgeon to do brain surgery.
Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah.
True. That's when people ask me to sing pop music. I said, it's kind of like the difference between a long distance runner and a sprinter. Mm-hmm. We both do the same thing, but they're completely different.
And you wouldn't have a sprinter try to run a marathon because they probably wouldn't even place.
Right. They just wouldn't happen.
It's such a specialty,
Yeah. Definitely.
Cool.
In a big world.
What else do we want to ask, Carrie?
Well, we had a couple things about, in our world, we have managers or agents, however you want to talk, they manage our careers and book the jobs and all that kind of stuff. Do you have the same thing? Do you have somebody that manages you or several different managers?
Yes. The simple answer is yes, several. So for my publishing catalog, I have 20 people in different territories all around the world. So I have a rep in South Africa. I have a different one in Spain, a different one in UK, a different one in France. So every territory has individual companies that sell my wares, and then they report back to me every quarter. Okay. And I have someone in the US doing that as well. So, and then MVibe also represents some of my music. So I'm actually representing myself.
Okay.
I suppose it would be a conflict of interest, but it kind of is because, we're providing a service. And if they want Tyrolean bagpipe music, they don't want to hear a big band version of, Deck the Halls, right? So it's something really specific that they're asking for.
Gotcha.
So that, and then there also is a whole network of agents that represent film composers. So there's 2 or 3 big agencies that have over 100 clients each.
Okay.
And then the majors, the CAAs and the big marquee talent agencies have film composer divisions. But the 2 biggest ones are independent. They're not at all the one that represents me is called Gorfain Schwartz, and they represent John Williams, and
Okay.
they had, James Newton Howard, they had James Horner, Hans Zimmer, a lot of the big film composers, a lot of big TV composers are there.
Wow.
Okay, so you said that you've had conversations with John Williams, correct?
Yeah. If you look at the scope of John Williams' work going back to the 50s, I mean, he's written 22 hours of music just for Star Wars.
Yeah.
And all of 9 Beethoven symphonies are less than 7 hours. So if you just look at the volume of music he's written,
Yeah.
he's
amazing. It's amazing.
Short of astonishing. And I mean, I talk to him all the time, and what I get from him is just his sense of, he's a worker. His work ethic. I mean, he's wildly talented, and that's all there. And his gift of melody. I mean, if we could sit there and there's probably 10 or 12 tunes that
Yeah.
You're musicians, so you don't quite count, but just the general public knows,
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And turn on a football game. I mean, NBC News theme. I mean, it is so ubiquitous.
Olympics. Did he do the Olympics?
He did. Not da, 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 that's not him. But the other one. Da, 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 that's his.
Right. That.
And NBC News theme. Da 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 da. Ka-ching.
Yeah.
He's like this cool guy, though. He seems
Yeah.
he loves what he does, and he's passionate about it, and it shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he is the humble to a fault.
Mm.
He's one of the most humble people I've ever talked to, and he is the most famous. I would argue he's the most famous composer that ever lived.
Ever.
Think about it.
Yeah, Mozart, Bach.
Mozart was
Verdi?
Mozart. Okay, so Verdi was famous, but
Yeah.
how famous was he when he was alive? Really?
Well,
I mean,
okay. Well, yeah. Okay. I agree with you on that. True.
Yeah.
was yeah, because 1 million people went to Verdi's funeral, right? Isn't that the sort of in Italy, right? But what about in France? Like, he's famous. I'm not taking it away from the guy, but I mean, like, when you have film and you have that exposure that he gets and the just how it gets to every corner of the globe, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah, you think Morricone too, but not nearly as much. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, to a level, Morricone. I mean, I adore Morricone's music crazily. I mean, I really do. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to think about Harry Potter, all that whole series, Jurassic Park,
Yes.
all the Star Wars.
My favorite piece in any movie, and nothing against you, nothing against John Williams, but is from the movie The Mission with Morricone, Gabriele Zoppo.
Or Gabriel Zobo.
Without that piece, that movie, I mean, it was a powerful movie, but with the music, it was just.
I've got chills just thinking about it. But have you listened to The Falls lately? The Falls is one of the other cues from that movie.
I have the whole
piece. It's just astonishing. It's astonishingly
like
great.
A standalone opera almost, or a symphony.
And only a Roman could have written that piece of music, I think.
It's true. But it just goes to prove, circling back, how music is so powerful in television, in film, in our daily lives, and
sure.
I think we forget how much we hear it.
Mm-hmm. The Good, Bad, and Ugly. There's another super iconic one, and there's a piece that's being used in the beer commercials right now. I don't even know what movie it's from. I never saw the movie.
Okay.
But iconic.
No, it's really cool. It's really cool, your life and your career and what you've done with it, and where you started and how you ended up where you are. And I just find it fascinating, and I love what you've done, and I love your projects. And thank you so much for doing this and talking with us, because there's a lot of people that don't know or understand what the music is behind what we watch every day, all day long lately. So
yeah. And are you guys finding where's your audience? Are they fellow singers? Are they like?
We feel like, I think it's kind of all over the board. Mm-hmm.
It's completely even between male and female. But the next largest group of followers is around 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So that's the group that we really wanted to touch and
fun.
press, and bring into the classical music world, because they are the ones that are the future audiences and the future of our business. And
Oh,
and
sure.
also, I mean, everybody goes to movies or watches movies and they can't go to them yet. Sorry.
But what a great idea for somebody that's in music right now, even like your daughter entering freshman year, wondering, should I still keep doing this as a career? And yeah, actually you should, because music will and always be around. And
Yep.
maybe it's just in a different path than what you thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. And
you-
they still need people to create great music. That's not going to
absolutely.
change. The way they go about it and how you get paid to do it is going to continue to change.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily good news, but there's always opportunities. Always, always, always.
Do you get paid like we do, or do you get royalties?
I get paid. Most of my income comes from royalties.
Okay.
90%.
So
And I
if
get fees too for doing things. Just a straight fee for my time. Like this Nashville thing, I just get paid a fee because I'm not the writer. I'm
Okay.
the conductor and the arranger, and I'm also the pianist on it. And did a lot of wrangling and stuff like that. But it's not
so
my music.
royalties is the big thing for you.
Royalties is the name of the game for me. Yep.
Well, you make me want to go run out and do a Christmas album in my operatic voice, in my jazz voice, in my pop voice. I mean, let's just
Princess
put it
voice.
out there. What?
I want to hear the Disney princess voice.
And the Disney princess voice, yes, because I grew up in Florida, so we can do that too.
Oh, God bless you. Yeah.
Oh,
That's the spot for that.
we should do
For
our.
sure.
You should hear it. She's really good.
Oh,
at
it's so fun. I mean,
Right,
my dad always gave me a hard time. He's like, if that opera thing doesn't work out, you can always come back and sing at Disney.
Having
It's
done many
open.
shows there.
Disney's
yeah.
open, Terry.
Disney's
Yeah.
open.
Yep.
Crazy.
Social distance.
What is it?
All
Okay,
right.
do you mind if we ask you a couple fun rapid fire questions?
Yeah. Go.
Okay, cool.
What is the most useless talent that you have?
Useless talent.
Hmm.
Memorizing phone numbers.
All right. Okay.
Best piece of advice you were ever given?
Be your own producer.
Ooh, I like that.
A good one.
What's the strangest thing you know too much about?
Strangest thing I know too much about. Probably Steinways.
Okay.
The history of Steinway and pianos, and it's kind of geeky. So yeah, it's probably.
No, it's cool. I get it.
Yeah.
Do you have a song that always gets stuck in your head?
Yes. Oh, it depends on what day it is.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Do you have one today?
up there now?
Well, now it's the Morricone thing because we were just talking about that. So
Oh, okay.
there's always something playing in my head. I'm a little bit like that all the time. There's always the jukebox does not shut off ever,
Okay. Ever.
Are
including
you
when I'm.
like at nighttime going? Tick, 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 tick?
There's tunes pretty much ever present. Plus, I play piano a lot, so then whatever was Goldberg Variations or whatever was the last thing is the thing that. Or this album, like my friend's album, is those tunes are earwigs right now,
Wow.
Okay. Earwigs
Yeah.
up to that.
all the time, constant.
Guilty pleasure?
Golf.
Ooh.
Okay.
A sound or noise that you love?
The sound my daughters make when they laugh hysterically.
That's
Oh.
the best.
And what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Would I attempt or
Would like to, or
Would
would, or in a perfect world?
being a psychotherapist?
Ooh. I find that interesting because we work with musicians and we're all nuts. I mean, all of us are crazy.
Whack job, wackadoodle out of our freaking gourd. Yeah.
I think every voice teacher and every voice coach out there has to have some psychotherapy degree.
No, you're not getting very far
"Ah!"
because so much of what you do is it's your voice. It's you're carrying it around with you.
And it's emotional.
It's emotional. It's like, how can you turn that off?
It's been rough, man.
I've
5
dated a
months.
few singers. I've dated a few singers. So Um,
So sorry.
I live to tell the tale. But it's the most dangerous part is if you try to accompany them, as in accompany them.
Oh,
Which I've,
no.
Yeah.
Don't
And then
worry.
you go home and have a domestic. Yeah.
yeah, or yeah, I mean, yeah, it is crossing the line without intending to have crossed the line. But I've done it, and I live to tell the tale. So here I am.
True. I call my accompanist, my pianist and voice coach. He's my other husband.
Yeah, that you know what that doesn't.
Doesn't surprise me.
It's a relationship, you know.
Okay, two more questions. If you cuss, what's your favorite cuss word?
Oh fuck.
Nice. Love it. I love saying that word.
Oh, Carrie, we're
Okay,
never
and-
going to get a PG
I know.
rating.
This is never going to be a PG on Apple TV because it's never PG rated.
Okay.
Okay.
Not.
Okay, last question.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gate?
Why are you here so early?
Yes. Yes, we say yay to
And then,
that.
you know, as I talked to John Williams, who's 88 years old, and I saw him yesterday walking the golf course and playing golf with his daughter,
Nice.
and then he goes home and writes music. I mean, that's what else do you want?
I want
Keep your
that.
mind active. I think, you know, if you stay active and you keep your mind active and you're passionate about what you do.
And how sharp he is just scary. You wonder why he's so successful. And then he talks about a recording he did in 1955 and who was on it.
Amazing.
It's
We
next
interviewed
level.
William Friedkin, the director.
Yeah.
And he's 84. And I'm telling you, that guy, he is sharp. And it's because I think, you know, if you keep it going and you keep your mind active,
Use it or lose it. Age is a number.
bingo.
100%.
Sure is.
We're going to leave it on that now, aren't
Yes,
we?
we are. Thank you
Yes,
so much
ma'am.
for your
Thank
time.
you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Let's do it again. Let's check in a year and see how we're all doing.
I would love that. Sounds
All right.
great.
Hopefully
Perfect.
in person.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Be well. Good luck with the Christmas season.
Thank you. Back at you guys.
All right. Take care.
All
Bye.
Bye.